Hey, it's Sela Social Studies.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sela Social Studies. Today we're going to be covering the first industrial revolution. So since the beginning of time, humans were using their hands to build and create things. If they needed something to make their lives easier, they would simply have to create it by hand. That was from the dawn of time. Here is the 1700s, a time where things began to change for the better. Just like their ancestors, most people at the beginning of the 1700s were self-sufficient farmers who would create or build things by hand to make their lives easier. After all, that's the idea behind the Industrial Revolution, is to make things easier on the human race. So skilled workers such as carpenters, blacksmiths, and shoemakers made their goods by hand in the towns in which they lived and would trade or barter for things that they themselves could not create, like foodstuffs or leather goods. So soon, people began to mechanize the creation of their goods, and this started the beginning of the first industrial revolution. The Industrial Revolution is characterized as a period of rapid growth using machines to make goods, making lives easier, and it all started in Great Britain in the mid-1700s. As the human race progressed throughout time, one thing has been a constant: the fact that people love to live near water sources, whether it be to water crops or to drink water. It is the key to life. It is no surprise that people would figure out a way to harness the power of water to supply the power needed to run their machines. Rivers and streams would make up the first power supply for the Industrial Revolution and these industrial machines. A moving flow of water would turn a large water wheel, and that would in turn turn some sort of shaft connected to a gear, which would turn a grinding stone for things like grinding wheat and corn. And when the Industrial Revolution left Great Britain and came to America, the power supply to run these impressive machines would change from water-powered to heat-powered, in which things like wood and coal were burned to heat water and generate steam. Steam was a productive form of energy, so much so that Great Britain had chopped down almost all of its trees and mined so much coal that there was a thick fog of soot that covered everything in Great Britain, including getting into their rivers, a serious problem of pollution. So the invention of the steam engine was a game changer for the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines gave businesses the opportunity to leave behind those rivers and streams and move into more populated areas where there were no active water supplies to run their machines. There only needed to be a way to transport the water to the factory to supply the boilers with water to burn off the steam to power the engines. This is why the steam engine and electricity were the most efficient sources of power that drove the Industrial Revolution. Today, we use all sources like wind, water, solar, thermal, and nuclear energy to power our factories and cities. So why would the United States even need the Industrial Revolution? Well, the Industrial Revolution came to America in 1790, but did not expand to an enormous scale until the early 1800s. If we remember, Thomas Jefferson enacted the Embargo Act and the Non-Intercourse Act, which hurt American trade with Britain and France and lowered prices on British manufactured goods. It made it more difficult for American manufacturing to grow. American manufacturers were limited to producing things like cotton goods, flour milling, weapons, and iron products, which severely limited growth. American manufacturing was struggling. The economy began to suffer just the same, and Americans began to look for an alternate trading partner or new ways to manufacture goods. And in the War of 1812, America cut off trade with Great Britain, and this forced Americans to be more self-sufficient. When trading stopped, manufacturing of goods in the United States increased, and industry was able to expand and prosper. forcing Americans to realize that they were relying too heavily on foreign goods. So the economy of the northeastern part of the United States was most affected by the spread of the Industrial Revolution. The northern economy became centered around manufacturing and factories. People started using machines more to make the manufacturing more efficient, which helped speed up the process of production, thus leading to a mass production of products. The Industrial Revolution revolutionized the production of goods. Goods could now be produced faster, cheaper, and more efficiently. Another one of these ideas or inventions that helped speed up the process of mass production was the use of interchangeable parts. Interchangeable parts were an important part of the Industrial Revolution and sped up that process of mass production. It was the idea of mass producing parts for muskets or machines so that if they broke, they could be replaced. Before interchangeable parts, if a musket broke in the battlefield, a soldier would have to either find another musket or maybe even wait until someone died so they can use theirs. In the manufacturing world, if a machine were to break before interchangeable parts, the factory would have to scrap that whole machine. Now with interchangeable parts, they could just be fixed. This helped the mass production of goods in the northern economy started to explode because of the Industrial Revolution. We're going to get into more inventors, some more effects of the revolution, and we're also going to get into the communication and the transportation revolutions. I'll see you next time.